بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, all praises to Allah, we send peace and salutations upon the final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Glory be to Allah, we have no knowledge except what Allah taught us. He is indeed the most knowledgeable, the most wise. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Ya Allah, teach us the beneficial knowledge, benefit us from what we learn and increase us in knowledge. اللهم آمين يا رب العالمين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May the peace, blessings and mercy of Allah be upon you all. Once again, welcome you to the straight path with me, Samih Jad. May the Almighty make it a beautiful time, a blessed time, a time for guidance. Allahumma ameen. The main aim and the main goal of the program is to share information about Islam with our non-Muslim viewers. And at the same time, of course, as Muslims, learn how to call, how to convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, with wisdom and with good advice. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Noble Quran, encouraging us, أُدْعُ إِلَى سَبِيلِ رَبِّكَ بِالْحِكْمَةِ وَالْمَوْعِظَةِ الْحَسَنَةِ. Call unto the path of your Lord with wisdom and with good advice. So not enforcing on people, but basically we share the other side of the story, we inform people and give them some information about Islam, and it's up to them. وَمَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ. The mission of the Prophet or the mission of the Messenger is just to convey. And since Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah upon him, is the last Prophet, the last Messenger, so his ummah, his nation is taking that mission of conveying the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't feel sad, don't feel bad that I called someone to the faith and he did not accept. Our duty is just to share the message with people. Whether they accept it, they don't accept it, you get your reward from who? From Allah Azza wa Jal. So let us inshallah be encouraged to give da'wah, and we all should be du'at to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Either you give da'wah or da'wah is going to be giving to you. I always say that. Either we call people or we will find people knocking our doors and calling us to their batil. So it's so important, ikhwah, that we call unto the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran instructed us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَى إِلَى اللَّهِ. Who is better than this person who calls unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There is no one better in reward than a person who calls people to the faith, who bring people closer to the Almighty. The Almighty will be so happy with you because you're sharing His message and you're conveying His message to people. Imagine the amount of love, the amount of mercy, the amount of care Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you because you're taking His message. You are the agent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are conveying the message of Allah Azza wa Jal to people. Every single person should think about that. Every single Muslim should think about that, about conveying the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't want to come on Judgment Day and we find our neighbors holding our neck. Ya Allah, he was my neighbor for so many years, but not once he told me anything about Islam. Not once he shared with me a booklet about faith. Not once he told me about Prophet Muhammad or about the teachings of Islam. Nowadays, sharing the information is so easy. Communication revolution everywhere. Sharing an article about Islam, sharing this program. We have our page where you can go to our page, Hilaal TV, and you can get all these programs and you can share. And you get reward. You get similar reward to those who are talking. And someone is talking, you take it and you share it with others. If someone got hidayah through that, you get similar reward. الدال على الخير كفاعله. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the one who guides people to goodness, he or she will share similar reward to it. So I cannot imagine the reward of Sayyidina Amr ibn al-As, for example, or the first generations of the companions, for example. What was their reward for guiding so many people to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I cannot imagine the reward of the engineers outside, or the managers outside, or the people who are taking care of this TV, for example. Every single nasiha, every single program that's benefiting humanity, they share similar reward. Can you imagine? You should think like that. And this should be our intention. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the good intention and the ikhlas and sincerity. Once you have that, Allah opened the doors, Allah opened the hearts of people. And don't underestimate any good. Don't underestimate a small message you give today. Sometimes, wallahi, we used to give da'wah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One day, I was giving da'wah to someone for a few years. It took me a few years to give him da'wah to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after a while, I said, khalas, the information between me and him, the way of communication got cut. After a few years, I met him, and then he accepted Islam. You don't know, you plant the seed today, it might grow some other years later on, and you find him in your scale of hasanat. So don't underestimate that message that you share with someone, with wisdom, with good advice. بالحسنى, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invited us in the Noble Quran, ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. And even if you have to argue with people, if you have to discuss and argue, and now you have to discuss differences sometimes, then even the differences, بالتي هي أحسن, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. If you have to make mujadala, to have this discussion, it should be بالتي هي أحسن. If you go to the tafsir of بالتي هي أحسن, how the commentators of Islam comment on that, they say بالتي هي أحسن in a way that doesn't make the other person angry. So even if you are arguing about the differences, we are arguing in such a polite, civilized manner. It should be like that. This is how it should be when we are arguing with people. And also use the Quran as an argument. Use the Quran and quote from the Quran and from the statements of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I always say this in the beginning just to encourage you, inshallah, to give da'wah. And don't say, but I don't know so much. I don't know. Give da'wah with whatever information that you have. Our situation with knowledge is that we learn it and not just preserve it for ourselves. No, we learn it, we practice upon it, and we share it. Learn, practice, share. This is our situation with knowledge. تعلم, اعمل, علم. تعلم, اعمل, علم. You learn something, make amal, share. Learn, make amal, share. This is how it is. How it should be. Otherwise, Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to question us. Why did you have the knowledge? You didn't make amal. Why did you have the knowledge? You didn't share it with other people. Knowledge will die with you. As you die, knowledge die also with you. كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned about those people who were giving the divine revelation, and they got it and they got the message, but they just kept it and didn't share it, or they didn't benefit from it. What happened to them? They are like the donkey carrying books. They didn't benefit from it, nor benefited others from it. You see, ikhwa? So it is so important to learn and to share and to convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to our non-Muslim viewers, I always also give you a message to pray to the Almighty for guidance. No one can guide you. Only the Almighty can guide you. So yes, we give you the message, etc. But if you did not pray for guidance, if you didn't say, oh God, guide me, humble yourself, you won't get it. Allah doesn't guide those people who don't seek. You seek, you find it. You knock on the door, it will be open for you. But if you think, no, I'm already guided, I don't need guidance. No, we need the guidance in each moment of our life. We need to remain on the guidance. We need steadfastness on the guidance. And this will happen when we pray for it. This is why every single Muslim is praying on a daily basis, more than 17 times at least, for guidance. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Guide us to the straight path. And this is the name of our program, inshallah. We take in a short break. We'll come back after the break. Stay with us. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. All praises to Allah. We send peace and salutations upon the final messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Welcome back to the straight path. Don't forget that this is an interactive program. So if you have any questions about faith, about comparative religions, any questions or misconceptions that you have, whether you are a Muslim or a non-Muslim, you are more than welcome to send us your WhatsApp messages, inshallah, and try in this program to answer your questions. In Islam, we encourage asking questions. We say this in every program. We are encouraging people to ask questions. And it's not us, it's Islam. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran encouraged us in so many occasions to ask. العلم خزائن مفاتحها السؤال. Knowledge is like stores, and the keys of the stores is when you ask questions. So in Islam, we encourage asking questions, not like some other faith where they tell you, don't ask, just have faith. Just have faith. No, in Islam, our faith is built on understanding. It's appealing to mind and to soul. Something that you thought about, it makes sense, absolute sense, and that's why you develop faith in it. So that's faith in Islam. Right? So we encourage anyone who have questions to feel free, inshallah, and ask all your questions about faith If you have any misconceptions, anything you don't understand, feel free to ask in this program, inshallah. Right, in previous programs we spoke about, just a quick revision, we spoke about the pillars of faith, we spoke about the articles of Muslim faith, we spoke about paradise, about hellfire, about the purpose of life, about the meaning of Allah. We spoke about worship, why we worship, and today inshallah we'll speak about the definition of worship. Last week we spoke about the purpose of life. We said it's to worship the Almighty, and we'll continue from where we stopped. There are some questions about worshiping. Why should we worship? Does the Almighty need worship? What is the meaning exactly of worship? What will happen to us if we worship? All this information, we're going to be discussing it today, inshallah. So, we together with Sheikh Riyad Walls, we were talking about worship, and as a purpose of our life. The purpose of our life is to worship the Almighty, and this is evident in the Quran. The Almighty said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I haven't created jinkind and mankind except that they may worship me. And we said that the Almighty, everything in the creation, in the whole universe, is worshipping the Almighty in their own way. Everything is worshipping the Almighty in their own way. وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ وَلَكِنْ لَا تَفْقَهُونَ تَسْبِيحَهُم. Allah says in the Quran, what can be translated, everything, they worship the Almighty or they glorify the Almighty, but in their own way. You don't understand their way of glorifying the Almighty. So this glorify the Almighty, this laptop glorify the light, the floor, the stars, the trees, everything worship the Almighty in their own way. But we don't understand their way of worshiping the Almighty. Now, certain creations, what we consider to be inanimate objects or angels or whatever, all the other creations, they don't have the free will to worship or not to worship. They don't have that free will to worship or not to worship. Mankind and jinkind refers to what you call it, demons or satans or spirits, etc. They were giving that free will to worship the Almighty or not to worship the Almighty, to choose or refuse. And based on your choice, based on whatever you choose by your free will, you will be held accountable by the Almighty. This is why there is paradise and there is hellfire. إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this أمانة التكليف, this trust of carrying the responsibility of having free will to choose or to refuse, the Almighty have given us this amana. He gave us this responsibility. And amongst the rest of the creations, it was given to mankind and jinkind to choose or refuse. But based on your choice, you're going to be held accountable by the Almighty. So what's supposed to be your choice? To worship the Almighty. To submit your free will to the will of your Creator. To come to the Almighty, submitting your will to Him by obeying Him, obeying His teachings, keeping the commandments of the Almighty, and this is how you worship the Almighty. So this takes us to the definition of worship. The actual definition of worship is not just the rituals, is not just to prostrate down and to bow and to pray. That's part of worship. All this is part of worship, a small part of worship actually. The major part of worship in Islam is that whatever you do to please the Almighty, every good you do to please the Almighty is considered worship. Every evil you stay away from to please the Almighty is also considered worship. Your smile in the faces of others is worship. Removing the harmful objects from the road is worship according to Islam. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah upon him, said, Al-Imanu bid'un wa sittuna shu'bah. Faith consists of 60 and something branch. فَأَعْلَاهَا قَوْلُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. The highest of which is when you say, لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. And the lowest of which is, إِمَاطَةُ الْأَذَى عَنِ الطَّرِيقِ. Removing harmful objects from the road. This is part of faith. That's part of worship. So, وَالْحَيَاءُ شُعْبَةٌ مِنَ الْإِيمَانِ. Modesty is a branch of faith. Modesty. You are a modest person, you get reward for that. نظافة, being clean, this is part of faith. You're worshipping the Almighty by being a clean person. Worshipping the Almighty by being dutiful to your parents. Worshipping the Almighty by taking care of your children. Taking care of your wife. Worshipping the Almighty by smiling in the faces of others. All the good that you do to please the Almighty is considered worship in Islam. Every good you do to please the Almighty. And put two lines under two. Meaning that sometimes you might find people doing good, but not for the Almighty. It's not going to be accepted. There is a condition for the acceptance here, is that it should be done for the sake of the Almighty. Why are you doing it? You're doing it for the sake of, because the Almighty commanded it. The Almighty said you must do it. So I'm doing that because I observe the Almighty is watching me and the Almighty commanded me to do this. So I'm doing it for Him, for His sake, to please Him. This is worship it is accepted. So there's two conditions for the acceptance of the good deeds or the worship. Two conditions for the acceptance of the worship. Number one, as-sihha, to be correct. What you're doing from good should be correct, should be good. And what you're staying away from evil should be evil. So how do we know that? How do we recognize that? We know that by the Almighty Himself. The Almighty taught us. Good is what I taught is good. Bad is what the Almighty taught us is bad. So this is the first criteria to know what is good and what is bad is the dictates of the Almighty. Is it according to the teachings of the Almighty or not according to the teachings of the Almighty? Right. This is the main criteria. There is a second criteria, and that second criteria is basically your own conscience. Your own conscience. هو الذي حبب إليكم الإيمان وزينه في قلوبكم وكره إليكم الكفر والفسوق والعصيان. Allah the Almighty made good look good in our hearts. When you do good, you feel good. Whether you are a Muslim, you're not a Muslim, whether you are an atheist, whatever. Whenever you do good, you feel good. Because the Almighty made it like that inside your heart. Who will disagree that killing is bad? Who will disagree that adultery is bad? Who will disagree that there are so many things like that, right? But there are certain people, ya ikhwa, there are certain people who have tamsul basira. What you call it, tamsul basira, that's the Arabic meaning. The English meaning is basically the thermometer to recognize the good from the bad is being covered. It's being covered. You can't see anymore. The word cover, by the way, it is taken from the Arabic word kafar. Cover, taken from the Arabic word kafar. Kafar means to cover. Al-kuffar in Arabic, and it may have double meaning. One is the non-believers, and the other one is those who cover the seeds, those who cover the seeds, the farmers who cover the seeds. So basically, they covered their conscience, and so they can't recognize now. So they need to go back to the dictates, the Quran and the teachings of the prophets, in order to know what is good and what is bad. Because if they left only to the conscience of the people, then people will disagree. Sometimes people disagree. So you will find certain people like that. Right? So then this is how you recognize what is good and what is bad. The second condition is that you should do it for the sake of the Almighty. If you're doing it for the sake of the Almighty, then it's accepted by the Almighty. This is how the worship is getting accepted. So back to the main definition is that good is whatever you do, worship is whatever you do from good to please the Almighty, whatever you stay away from evil to please the Almighty. This is considered worship in Islam. So you get reward for every good that you spread. That's why the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah upon him, said, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِلنَّاسِ. The best of mankind are those people who are more beneficial to mankind. The more you are beneficial to your community, to your family, to your society, to your country, to your people, etc., is such a beneficial person. That's a good person. But you're doing it for what? To please the Almighty, or you're doing it just for people to say, oh, wow, he was such a good man, he was such a great man, etc. No, you're doing it for the Almighty. So whether people say or they don't say, it doesn't matter, because I'm doing it to please the Almighty. This is the worship that's accepted in Islam. Okay? So this is the definition of worship. We spoke also about when the Almighty said, He doesn't need your worship. He doesn't need your worship. Your worship does not increase Him or decrease Him in any way. So why do we worship then? For your own sake. Why do we worship the Almighty? One day a person asked me this question. We say, why do we need to worship the Almighty? Why does He need to worship the Almighty? He doesn't need to worship the Almighty. He doesn't need your worship at all. He doesn't benefit from your worship at all. But we benefit from it. Moreover, we worship Him because He is worthy of being worshipped. The Almighty is worthy of being worshipped. And we the one who benefit from the worship. Because when you are worshipping the Almighty, your life will move smooth. It is because that worshipping the Almighty is like basically following the dictates of the Almighty and making sure that you are submitting to Him everywhere, doing what the Almighty said you're supposed to do. That's the worship, right? So then it's like I give the example all the time of that usage guide. You know, when you go to buy a machine from any factory, you will find there with the machine in the box you'll find the usage guide, the manual, written by who? The manufacturer. Do this, don't do that. Do this, don't do that. The manufacturer said, use oil. You say, no, I'm not going to use oil, I'm going to use water. What will happen? You're going to damage the machine. Likewise, to Allah the best of examples. If you're going to submit to the teachings of the Creator, you're going to live in peace in this life and in the next life. You're going to live in peace. If you're not going to submit, you're going to fail. If you're not going to worship Him, something is going to be missing. You'll always feel something is missing. All right? We'll come back to this inshallah after this second break. But don't forget, if you have any questions about faith, feel free to WhatsApp us inshallah. Let's take a short break. We'll come back after this. Stay with us. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. All praises to Allah, peace and peace, and salutations upon the final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Welcome back to the straight path. It is time to get your questions. Don't forget, this is an interactive program. So if you have any questions about faith, about comparative religions, feel free, inshallah, to ask your questions. All right, so the subject today about worshipping the Almighty, but basically you can ask any questions in general, not necessarily about the subject. There were actually two questions left about the subject of worshipping the Almighty. One of them is, what will happen if we worship, and what will happen if we don't worship? What will happen if we worship the Almighty, and what will happen if we don't worship the Almighty? I will take it from the second question. What will happen if we don't worship the Almighty? That's a serious question. Why it's a serious question? Because sometimes this materialistic life occupies the minds of people, and it betrays lots of people. The main purpose and the main focus is just to get their sustenance or just to feel happy. They're thinking that they can feel happy by buying this, buying that, getting this, getting that. But in reality, real happiness is when you connect yourself to the Almighty, to the Creator. Real happiness and real peace is when you submit yourself to your Creator, when you feel that you are a servant of God. This is where you find the real peace and the real serenity. One of my teachers once used to say that when faith is gone, there is no safety. You don't feel safe, and even the community doesn't feel safe. When faith is gone, there is no safety anymore. There is no peace. That's why, wallahi, I heard it from so many people who used to be on the wrong path. They say, it was empty. My life before Islam was emptiness, complete emptiness. I was trying so hard to be happy, but it's not working. You cannot find happiness in the materialistic life, buying this, buying that, etc. But real happiness is when you know and recognize the Almighty. So what's going to happen if you don't worship the Almighty? You're going to feel that miserable, or the meaning of that miserable life and the miserable suffering. You're going to suffer. When you are far from the Almighty, you're going to suffer, even if you have everything. Actually, there's a country, I think Sweden, it's called Sweden. And in Sweden, they have the higher rates of income, and the people who they live like kings compared to people living in Africa, etc., or in Middle East or in India or certain places. They live very, very luxurious life, but they have the highest rates of people committing suicide. They also have the highest rates of people committing suicide. When faith is gone, it is easy for a person to end his life. When there is no faith, when you are away from the Almighty, so it affects your spiritual life. Your spiritual life is down. Where is your spiritual life? Your spirit needs food, needs provision. Same like how your body needs food, your soul also needs food. How are you going to get the provision of the soul? From the Creator of the soul. Only comes from the Creator of the soul. You need to connect yourself to the Creator, so you can be strong when problems affect you. You can be strong when there is a difficulty. Even if you face difficulties, remember, I'm not telling you you're not going to face difficulties. If you're going to believe in the Almighty, don't think you're not going to face difficulties, because this life, it is a test life. So it is obvious that you're going to face some tests and some tribulations and ups and downs in your life. But the way you handle that, the way you're managing that, this is where you're going to find the support of the Almighty. Without the Almighty, even the shortage of salt in your food can cause a lot of problems for you. And with the Almighty, even the highest or the toughest problem, you can solve it with ease and no problem. Pardan wa salaman, as they call. It is easy. Why? Because you have the support of I have my Allah, I have my Almighty with me. The Almighty God is with me. If the King of the Kings is with me, what can I fear? If the King of the Kings is in my side, who else can be against me? So this is the first thing that you're going to lose when you don't worship the Almighty. When you don't worship the true God, you don't believe in the true God, you're going to suffer. And you're going to feel that emptiness, and you're not going to feel happy, even if you try your best Without Allah, wallahi, you can try to do whatever you want to do, wherever you want to do, whenever you want to do, and you're still not going to be happy. You must know the Almighty. It's not like supporting a soccer team. It's not like supporting a soccer team. Now there's a World Cup. The matter of faith, the matter of worship is not like supporting a soccer team. It's not just cultural matter. It's such a serious matter that before you leave this world, you must know what is your purpose in life and live according to that purpose of life. Otherwise, move to the second consequences. We said the first consequence is your spiritual life is down. The second consequences is that hellfire. Hellfire. It's real. It's not just for the spirit. It is real for the body and soul. The Almighty is going to raise everybody again from death. Every single person will be raised, will be revived by the Almighty. And all of us will be judged by the Almighty, one on one. Every single person will stand in front of the Almighty. I gave you guidance. You heard the Sheikh on the TV was talking about it. You got a message from where? You read the book about it. All this came to you. What did you do when the message came to you? I was busy. I didn't think about it. I was following my parents. I was this, I was that. No, you need to think and choose for yourself because it's serious. فَمَنْ زُحْزِحَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ. The Almighty says in the Quran, this who will be dragged out of the hellfire and go to paradise, this is the real winner. This is the real successful person. And those who did not know the Almighty or were heedless about it, also on the Day of Judgment, the Almighty will reject them. نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُم. They forgot Allah and Allah make them forget themselves. And on Judgment Day, no one will bother about them. Why? It is because they forgot their main purpose in life. They forgot what they were supposed to do. إِنْهُمْ إِلَّا كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. Allah in the Quran says, they are like cattle. Cattle also eat and drink and marry. And not marry, but basically have a relationship. Is this your purpose in life? Just to eat and drink and be married so that tomorrow you might die? No, your purpose is greater than that. You are a human being, you have brain, you have intelligence, you have this. The Almighty prepared everything for you, everything around you. This is for a purpose. It is for a purpose. You must know that purpose and live according to that purpose before your test is going to be ended. How is it going to end? By the angel of death coming and taking your soul. This is how it's going to end. So are you ready? He might come all of a sudden. He is not going to take permission. He's not going to give you a notification before he comes. He's going to come all of a sudden. Find your time. Now you have to leave. I have to leave now. Right. What did you do? يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي. I wish if I produced something. I wish if I worship the Almighty. I wish if I were. There's no way, no second chance. No second chance. So it's a serious matter. Every single person out there should think of that time when you're leaving this world. Are you following the right direction? Are you on the truth? Are you following the Almighty God? Are you worshipping Him alone, no partners, because He doesn't accept any partners to Him? Or you worshipping others beside Him? Or you praying to others beside Him? Or you considering others to be God beside Him? There's only one God. Only one God. None beside Him, and put two lines under none beside Him. No sons, no daughters, no family, no wife, nothing. No, He's a one and only God. This is the truth. And this was preached by all the prophets, including Prophet Jesus, peace be upon Him. Including the Messiah, peace be upon Him, Prophet Jesus. He also preached the same thing. There is only one God that you should worship, none beside Him. Don't worship others beside Him, so that you don't be a loser. Worship only the Almighty. And this was taught by Abraham, taught by Moses, taught by Noah, by David, by Isaac, by Ishmael, by Prophet Muhammad, by all the prophets, peace and blessings of Allah upon them all. Clear? So this is what's going to happen if you don't worship the Almighty. So there's two main consequences. One is your spiritual life will be down, misery, basically a miserable life, and the second is the hellfire. Now, what will happen if you worship the Almighty? If you worship the Almighty, truly worship the Almighty, if you're truly a servant of the Almighty, will find the support of God Almighty in this worldly life, because you're now following the right guidance, right? And Allah said it in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ اهْتَدَوْا زِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. As for those people who followed my guidance, I'm going to increase them in guidance. I'm going to show them the road. I'm going to direct them, encourage them on the road. Right? So that's called Hidayah to Tawfiq. Hidayah to Tawfiq. Allah give you Hidayah, guidance. Every person on earth, the Almighty guide him to the right way or the wrong way. This is the right way, this is the wrong way. Where are you going to choose? If you choose my way, if you choose the right way, what will happen? Now I'm going to give you signs on the road. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to find support because you chose my way. So you're going to find success and the support of the Almighty all over and the shelter of the Almighty all over throughout your life. This is one of the first thing you're going to get if you follow the right path, if you worship the Almighty alone. The second thing that you're going to get when you follow the right path, again, the spiritual feeling. Many people, I witnessed many people when they were non-Muslim, they accepted Islam. Wallahi, almost everyone is saying the same thing. I feel so light. I feel so beautiful. I feel free. I feel like I was swimming against the current all my life, and now I feel as if the current is carrying me. I'm walking with the current. I'm swimming with the current. I feel like something heavy on top of my shoulders, and then all of a sudden, it feels nice. It's taken away. This is the feeling. You feel good. You feel that you were blind, and now all of a sudden you can see. Okay, I can see. If someone else come to you tomorrow and say, "Come, I show you how you can see." Oh, I already can see. I don't need any other advice because I already can see now. So it's like, okay, how I lived all my life like that and I didn't see that? People say like that after they accept Islam. So strange. I wish if I accepted 10 years ago. I wish if I did this long time ago so that I have this beautiful feeling. People say like that. These are the statements that we hear all the time from people who accept the faith. Many people saying that. Right? So this is the second thing. The third thing also, you're going to get paradise. Paradise in Islam is real. It's physical life, not just for the spirit. In some other faith, it's just a spiritual life. No, in Islam, it's real life. It's for the body, for the soul. You're going to eat, you're going to drink, you're going to marry, you're going to enjoy your life there forever. Forever. If you're married in this worldly life and your wife also make it to the next life, you also go together. Forever, living there forever, enjoying your life there forever. If you missed certain portions in this worldly life, you are poor, you are sick, you are born with some disabilities, etc., etc. No, in the next life you have all the compensation. No death. Everyone enter paradise at the same age, the age of 33. Everyone enter paradise at the same age. And you don't get age there, you don't get all there in paradise. And you have there in paradise all what you wish for. You wish for something, find it there. You wish for something, it comes to you there. Isn't it a better life? Isn't it a great life? We all wish to be there, and we wish that you be there. We're having this program for that reason, that we want you to be there. You can be there if you believe in one God, none beside Him. And you submit yourself to the teachings of this one God, which came upon the Prophet of your time. Currently, we are in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah upon him. So for those people who lived during the time of Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, in order to make it, they had to believe and follow the teachings of Prophet Jesus. Where for those people who lived during the time of Prophet Moses, they had to follow and believe the teachings of Prophet Moses, etc. Now we are in the time of Prophet Muhammad. So in order to make it, you have to believe in one God and submit to the teachings of God that came upon Prophet Muhammad, the last Prophet. I ask the Almighty to guide us all. Allahumma ameen. This is it for the subject of worship. We're going to be taking a short break. We'll come back after the break to answer more of your questions, inshallah. Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings of the Almighty be upon you all. By the way, this is the greeting of the prophets of the Almighty. Not only the greeting of the final Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah upon him, but also the greeting of the people of paradise and the greeting of the previous messengers as well. They used to greet one another with peace. And this is even in previous scriptures as well, where Jesus, peace be upon him, was greeting his disciples, peace be with you. All right. We said that this segment will be for your questions. So if you have questions about faith, questions about Islam, you are more than welcome to ask your questions. And basically, the whole program is directed to our non-Muslim viewers, but even our Muslim viewers as well. They can ask their questions if they have any misconceptions about the faith. So any questions related to faith, you are more than welcome to ask. Anything you want to understand about faith, about the matters of Aqidah, the matters of Islamic creed, faith, you are more than welcome to ask these questions, inshallah. I'm saying that because sometimes we get fatwa questions, and actually we received already fatwa questions. Again, this program is not for fatwa questions, not for Islamic rulings, and for the fatwa questions, as I said in the morning, we recommend that you sit in front of the mufti. You sit in front of the Mufti, you listen to him, he explain your situation. He might ask you certain questions, then he can answer you. But these are just faith, to get questions to know your faith, questions to know the faith better, to know the methods of Islamic creed. You are more than welcome to ask questions about that, right? And also our non-Muslim viewers are welcome to ask their questions about Islamic faith. We will be so happy to answer your questions. And as I say always, we have nothing to hide. Everything is clear. Everything makes sense in Islam. Everything is appealing to mind and soul. Everything is logical. All right, and that's why through the logic of Islam and the great how sound this faith is, you find lots of people accepting Islam today. Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world today. Everywhere, wherever you go, you find people accepting faith, accepting Islam. All right, the question actually about Islam and terrorism. A summary of the question about Islam and terrorism. I'm not sure if we discussed this before, but generally to answer this question, we have to understand that good people and bad people are in every nation, in every group, in every country. You will find always good people and bad people. You will find in every country some people are misrepresenting the country. In every nation, you'll find some people are misrepresenting the nation. In every faith, you'll find some people misrepresenting the faith. So Islam got nothing to do with terrorism. Islam as a faith, it does not promote terrorism. Islam as a faith does not promote killing innocent people or attacking them or terrorizing them. As a faith, Islam encouraging us to even give shelter to the people of other faith when they are requesting our shelter. وَإِنْ أَحَدٌ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ اسْتَجَارَكَ فَأَجِرْهُ حَتَّى يَسْمَعَ كَلَامَ اللَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Surah At-Tawbah, if anyone of the mushrikeen refers to the polytheists and those who worship others beside the Almighty Allah, He says, if any one of them seek your shelter, seek your support, you should actually support them. You should actually give them your shelter and make them safe, right? So then what about the verses of fight sometimes we find in the Quran? When you study the context, you will understand that these verses, all the verses of fight in Quran, are talking about certain occasions and certain situations when the Muslims were attacked. So they had to defend themselves. So it is not just to go and pick and choose certain verses from the Quran. Says, you see, this verse says kill. Yeah, no, this verse was talking about certain people in the past who was fighting us, so we had to fight back to defend ourselves. Like today also, the same thing applies today. It doesn't mean that these verses now is not applicable. It is applicable if the same situation happen again. If someone is attacking us today, we have to fight back, and this is condoned by all the human laws and all the laws of every country. If someone come to attack our country now, obviously the army of the country is going to stand up and let's fight back, right? To free our country, likewise. So don't pick and choose. And don't just take certain verses without the context and then you come and say, okay, these verses are supporting terrorism. The second thing I wanted to say is that if you want to study faith, any faith, not just Islam, you should actually study the faith from the sources of the faith. It is not objective and it is not fair to judge Islam by reading certain information in the internet that was written by the haters of Islam. Obviously, you're going to tell you wrong information about it. You want to study Islam, you read about Islam from its sources. Read the Quran for yourself and see. It's not a big book, by the way. You can finish it. If you're reading 1 hour every day, you can finish it in 10 days. You can finish the whole book in 10 days. So it's not difficult to read, and check for yourself and see the teachings for yourself. Right? To read the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah upon him. See the teachings for yourself. See the fruits. See what comes up. Right? Then also, it is so important that we don't generalize. This is another point. Don't generalize. Meaning that if you see some people are bad, there are also some people are good. Right? So don't take certain people say, you see, those people are doing wrong, then everyone is doing wrong. If you're going to make the same mistake of generalizing, then no one on earth will be good, and no group on earth will be good, and no country on earth, because there is obviously bad people everywhere. But just because the spotlight is on us, so that's why you find lots of people are talking about it on the media, etc. But in reality, if you find and you check everywhere, you will find good and bad people, and you'll find some people who are killing innocents everywhere around the globe. And we can give examples. We don't have to give examples now. It's not my my way to point fingers. But basically, as I say, don't generalize. They say in Arabic, at-ta'mim ama. Ta'mim is like blindness. When you can generalize, you're blind. You just lash everyone with, or color everyone with the same color. No, rather be objective. Study Islam. Remove the preconceived notions from your mind. Study Islam from its sources. And if you want to study any faith, you should actually study the faith by reading the teachings. You don't judge a car by looking at the driver or the passengers in the car. Say, this car is so good. Why? Because the passengers are dressing so nice. Does it make sense? Doesn't make sense. If you want to judge the car, look at the engine, check the wheel, check the car, check the body of the car, etc. Likewise, if you want to study faith, you should actually study the teachings of the faith, study what the prophets of this faith teaching, the book of the faith. This is how you're going to get the information. If you want to study Islam from its sources. And again, as I'm mentioning now to you, that Islam is basically about morality. It is basically about establishing the values of justice and peace and love and respect and charity, and that's Islam. This is the main thing, and this is the main purpose also. Worshipping God, we said every good you do to please God. This was the subject today. In other words, to make the world a better place. If you're making the world a better place for the sake of the Almighty, it means you're worshipping the Almighty. That's the meaning. لقد ابتعثنا الله لنخرج العباد من عبادة العباد إلى عبادة رب العباد ومن ضيق الأديان إلى سعة الإسلام. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent us and erected us for the welfare of mankind, to take people out from the worship of people to the worship of the Lord of people, and to feel that peace and that freedom. In the Quran is the only divine book that has a verse that says لا إكراه في الدين. There is no compulsion in faith. There is no compulsion. This is a verse in the literally translated. There is no compulsion in faith. You wish to believe can believe, wish to disbelieve can disbelieve. Right? Quran is teaching us لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم. Allah doesn't forbid you to be just and fair or to deal justly with those people who did not fight against you or did not drive you out of your homes. To be good to them, to be nice to them. So basically, when you are peaceful to us, we'll be peaceful to you. Okay? So this is the answer to this question. I hope that I have answered this question. And for all the fatwa questions, I wish that you can go to the muftis, inshallah, speak to the mufti in your area. May the Almighty guide us all. Allahumma ameen. If you know anyone who's interested, feel free to connect him to us. Anyone who's interested to know more about Islam, feel free to WhatsApp us. The WhatsApp number is on the screen, and inshallah we can take it from there. Many people, alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah, accepted Islam through the program, and this is going to be in your scale of hasanat, inshallah. May the Almighty guide us all. Allahumma hdina wa hdi bina waj'alna sababan liman ihtada wal 'asri innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilu s-salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaykum. Peace be with you.